All right. You may have noticed that in the previous video I didn't actually have any section of town fully lit up the way I wanted to, because this is a town that I actually hadn't spent a whole lot of time developing yet. Well, I did some math and figured out that for the size of this town, I would need a something like 5 full stacks of torches and fence posts to do the entire town. Yeah, that's a lot. But I did have more than enough to do a quarter of town. And that makes a nice contrast to the way it was before I started doing anything and a fully lit up town. I see this. I didn't just put torches next to the houses. I filled in all of the areas in between so that there's slightly dim areas here and there, but only slightly dim. Also, I noticed that one of the odder um, objects that towns spawn with actually seems to get golems stuck. I don't understand it, but whatever. Also, I broke it, so I can't show you what it was. But it's one of those like light post things. Anyway, though, so I'm just going to do a quick explanation of the logic here. It's because I mean, obviously the basics are that you want to not have any like fully dark areas like that. That is an area that's dark enough for monsters to spawn. Obviously that entire area over there has no artificial lighting whatsoever, so that entire area is dark enough for monsters to spawn. This patch here, dark enough, because, like, yes, I have some torches in this area, but not that close. I mean, realistically, looking at this, you could come to the conclusion that a 7x7 grid is way too many torches. You could probably do something like a 10 or 12 point grid. That is actually probably true. Like I said before, I didn't actually ever figure out the minimum number that is actually required. But, you know, a 7x7 grid does do a nice amount of lighting. And one thing that is important to remember is that obstructions can cause issues with having lighting coverage. So if you have, say, a tree that is obstructing the light, such as this, that will create a dark spot simply because the tree is there. In this case, though, there's a torch over here, so it's not particularly obvious. But as you can see, this side of town over here, I have all of those torches, like all over the place. And yes, for some unknown reason, a bunch of villagers fell in this hole. Why? Seriously, guys? Why? Anyways, though, I'm genuinely not sure why the villagers even considered the whole part of town. I would have thought that would be considered outside of town, and thus they'd have avoided it. I might do something to help them later. Maybe. Oh yeah, in case you're wondering, that's another town. Anyway, though. Oh yeah, the reason why I have this torch here that's placed directly on the ground and off-grid is to mark the entrance to this mine tunnel, which goes into one of those weird crevice things that doesn't fit any principles of real-world geology. This village has several of those, actually. Whether I understand them or not, I'm going to document their existence. Anyway, though, that is actually an interesting point to consider, though, is that inside town, you want to have the inside of caves lighted. So putting lighting inside this crevasse over here would actually be to your benefit. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's a magma block. Oh, okay. That's interesting. But yeah, putting lighting inside a cave prevents monsters from spawning inside the cave. Ah, that's where the rushing water noise is coming from. How about you stop? Does that make any sense by real-world physics standards? Well, as I keep telling people, Minecraft doesn't have physics. Minecraft has gameplay. Okay, so this is a particularly deep crevasse, and let's not follow the hole, because wow, that is a deep hole. Anyways, ah, why am I using the torch? I actually have a shovel on me. Anyways, enough of the hole. So yeah, putting lighting inside of holes like that is very important because it prevents monsters from spawning inside the hole. Now, whether the monsters can get out of the hole to bother you is a separate consideration. Because if they're stuck in the hole, then maybe you don't actually care about them. Maybe. Anyways, this is an area that I decided to consider to be outside of town, so I didn't bother putting any torches in it. Now, that's a matter of arbitrary distinction, because the whole idea here is to create a lighted radius large enough that you don't have monsters spawning where they can attack you inside town at night. And for that purpose, I would. Oh, in case you're wondering why I keep breaking the grass like that, grass reduces light radius. So having tall grass like that actually increases the likelihood of monster spawns to some extent, anyways. It's also part of the reason why I put the torches on the wood things because um, obviously you don't need to place torches on wood posts. You could just place it on the ground like this. But placing it on a wood post actually gives you better coverage for the light radius. Because, especially when it's the one block high grass, having it uh, raised up one means that it goes over the one block high grass. Anyways, though. So ideally for this one, this whole ridge line here, you would want to have torches on top of that so that enemies can't spawn on top of the ridge line and then, either shoot into town or just lemming jump off the cliff and walk into town. So let's put a few of those up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I just realized that I used most of my torches. Okay then. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that is one thing that I briefly mentioned earlier. Is that this actually requires quite a lot of torches when it's a town this size. And as you can see that when I say a lot of torches, I mean a lot of torches. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would want to put one here, but I only have one left. So I'm going to count 7 that way and put it on top over there instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is the right spot. Whatever. It doesn't actually matter if you have a perfect grid. I genuinely don't make a perfect grid as a general rule anyways, especially when it's in town with buildings. A lot of the time when it's in town, I will actually just attach them to buildings. Oh, here's one that doesn't actually fit the grid. There, I have another torch. That's another thing with the buildings in town. The buildings in town will often spawn with torches on them already. Said torches may or may not match the grid you want to do. If they do match the grid you want to do, you can just, count it as part of the grid. Technically, for this one, the location, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is right here. But there is a pre-existing one right there. So I'll just use that one as that particular grid location instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could do the same here, but I didn't this time. Now, noteworthy is the fact that this torch doesn't need to be here at all. So I'm going to swipe it. Oh yeah, also, this is the location of those objects I was talking about. It's just those big light poles that have 3 of the wood fence post things stacked on top of each other, a wood cube, and then 4 torches attached to the wood cube. For some reason, the golems seem to get confused by having it right next to the building and those things. Anyway, though. But yeah, um, a big part of preventing monsters from getting into your village at night is simply having a very wide lighted perimeter. And that means placing hundreds of torches in a huge area. It does certainly work though. But as I mentioned earlier, it's time consuming. However, another point with this to consider though is that you don't need to just do it all at once. And this is actually a particularly expansive village. This isn't what I would consider a small village at all. Actually, that's an interesting point. Yeah, how do you call it? Oh well. Another thing with this village is that it's not a compact layout, and it does in fact have a lot of empty space inside it. That's just a factor of the weird screwball way Minecraft generates villages. Minecraft village generation is weird. I think what it does is it places this random object in the center. It's not necessarily one of those wells. This town has a well in the center. Other towns might have something else as the center of town completely. Then it starts drawing roads going outward. Now, if you pay close attention here, this road doesn't go straight out of town. See, if it had gone straight, it would be here. It's not. Why does it change? Yeah, because of the fact that it doesn't actually draw a single long segment of road going out of town. Like this one here, looks like a single long segment, but if you pay close attention, when it gets to right here, it jogs left a block. Why? I don't know. Just random generation something. Again, I can't really tell you all that stuff. Another thing is that placing the wood posts and torches on the road causes it to turn into that stuff. that is regular dirt and not the packed dirt that the road is made out of. You can actually make packed dirt roads by taking a shovel and doing the right click function on a dirt block. So you can actually redefine roads at will. I haven't bothered for this village because, quite frankly, I don't have a plan for roads in this village. But I'm just mentioning that if you want to ensure that you don't accidentally mess up the villagers' AI routines by cutting off their ability to travel on roads, then you can do that just by, moving the roads a little. Anyway, back to the AI generation thing. This town, let's see here. How many buildings did it spawn with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to cut this. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that's actually 2 right there. Is it 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now, if we count these planter beds as buildings, that's another 4 more. Yeah. And then there's this pavilion thingy, which, yeah, that's one thing about this one that I find to be a bit strange, is that this pavilion thingy is one of the other terrain features that you will sometimes find in the middle of a town as the town center, and I'm genuinely not sure why this one has 2 of the structures of that category. Oh, also, these fenced-in areas with pigs in them. I'm not sure those count as buildings for this purpose either. But still, though, this is a town that has 20 or more buildings, depending on how you count buildings, and it is quite expansive. And I suppose it is noteworthy that the largest empty area is in here. And, well, I mean, there's a big empty area over here, but one could say that it just didn't generate buildings going that way. So that's not inside town. To a certain extent, you could say this is outside town. This, though, I wouldn't call that outside town. It's just a big empty field inside town. And there's another one over there. And this area here, too. And this is actually a small, well, also, arguably, this area is outside town. So, is this actually a case of Minecraft generating 2 villages on top of each other? I genuinely don't know. It is weird looking village, though. But seriously, though, what is notable as the town center thing are these bells. Almost all towns have a bell somewhere in town. This town has 2. Huh? In 2 different structures. Now, I have actually seen towns where it would generate with more than 1 bell in a single structure, and I genuinely don't understand that, but like the pavilion thing that I was just in might actually generate more than 1 bell inside it. Do I know why? No. Also, I like to put torches on top of roofs after I've renovated the building. I'm not certain that you actually need them to prevent monster spawns, but I like having them. Um, I'm genuinely not sure exactly how the game decides which blocks are valid to spawn monsters on top of. At any rate, I think that's enough for this. See you guys next time.